Hey there, Ryan Jean here, and thanks for signing up for our email list. And as promised, here is my TikTok and Instagram growth guide for 2022 with guaranteed results. In this guide, I will be showing you how I grew from 0 followers to 70k followers on TikTok and Instagram, and how I've made several videos get 2 or 3 million views, and how you can do the same. So let's get into it. TikTok and Instagram have become very competitive. It's exponentially harder to grow nowadays than just compared to 5 years ago. Many million content creators use it every day, and it's therefore necessary to have a solid strategy in place to be able to grow. When I first started on TikTok and Instagram, I researched the whole web for guides on how to grow on TikTok and Instagram in 30 days and gain 100k followers in no time. And I have tried many things from those guides in all sorts of places, and I have found the strategies that actually works and the methods you can use to actively gain followers, both organically and manually. So let's start off with growing on Instagram. So when it comes to growing on Instagram, there are 2 ways of doing it. The first one is organic growth, and the second is manual growth. Organic growth on Instagram is very difficult nowadays. There is so much competition and the algorithm always seems to be against you, but it can still be done. The absolute best way of growing organically on Instagram is by using Reels. So Instagram is promoting Reels very heavily now that TikTok has become such a big player and has become such a big competitor to them. Therefore, it's much more likely that your Reel will be seen by a lot more people than just a regular video. So to be able to grow organically on Instagram, there's 2 main factors that you have to keep in mind. Number 1, you have to be consistent. If you're able to, posting every day is the best, but if you're not, that's okay. You can do like me and post every other day. And number 2, value. And value is way more important than frequency. Quality means much more than quantity. And if you're able to combine very high value with a high frequency, you have very good chances at growing organically on Instagram. Usually value is seen as either entertainment or it's seen as education. For me, I have chosen entertainment. That is what suits me best, but you have to decide for yourself what kind of value can you provide. Do you, for example, have very deep knowledge on powerlifting and powerlifting programs? Then that's what you have to teach. That's where you can give your value. If you're like me and you like to be more creative and make people laugh, then your best chance is probably adding value through entertainment. But value can also be inspiration, motivation, and much more. Take this video for an example. I've been growing on TikTok and Instagram for the past 2 years and have gathered a lot of information. I know what works and what doesn't. Therefore, I know a lot about the subject, and I can therefore teach you about it and give you information that will help you. And that is how this video creates value. So when it comes to creating content, both on TikTok and Instagram, there are 2 ways of doing it. You can either create original content, or number 2, you can use trends. So there are of course pros and cons to both options. So the pros of the original content is that it has the potential to grow much larger and go viral. It also creates more value for your followers as it's content that they have never seen before. The cons are that it's very hard to create original content. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. Also, you're not guaranteed that this original content is going to do well. Because it's original, it hasn't been tested before, you don't know how it will perform. An example of original content is the Deadlifting Celebrity series that I did. This series, to my knowledge, have never been done before, and this is also the big reason why it took off on Instagram and especially on TikTok. Many of the videos that I have created within this series have gotten 2 or 3 million views and have gotten me thousands of new followers. When it comes to trends, the pros are that the concept of the video and the trend is already verified. The reason why it's a trend is because it already has gone viral. So it's much easier to just hop on this trend. It's much more easy to do. You don't have to think very much. You just have to basically replicate. But the cons of using trends is that it's already very saturated. This also means that your followers probably have seen this trend before and is not as engaged. This also creates a weaker connection between you and your audience. So this is the 2 options you have when creating content. So what I usually like to do is getting inspiration. And how do I do that? I go on TikTok and simply scroll through my feed. I look at what's popular, and if I find a good video that I like, I will save it into a folder on TikTok where I keep all my inspiration for future videos. I also go into profiles that I really like and I know creates very good content, and I scroll through their feed and look at what's performing very well. If I find a video that's performing very well and that is something that I can create something like, I will save it into my folder. The inspiration from this folder helps me a lot with creating content that I know has a very good potential at taking off and becoming very big. So if creativity is something that you struggle with too, I would really recommend doing this. Now you have become very good at creating content, both original content and trending content. But how do you get people to follow you? First of all, the most important thing that we already talked about is value. You have to provide value. The more value, the better. You need to make it clear for your viewer to know exactly what they have to do, because our attention span gets shorter and shorter. Therefore, you have to tell your audience right away that they have to follow you, or else they'll just scroll past it even though they like the video very much and maybe saved it, but don't follow you. So when creating this call to action, it's very important that you don't do something generic. You can't say follow for more or something like that. You have to make it rememberable. You have to make it more specific and more unique. For example, the phrase that I use is follow for more gym comedy. An example of another call to action that I used is the call to action that I used in my deadlifting celebrities series. At the end of the video, I would say follow to see me deadlift more celebrities, and this makes the viewer want to follow you. You can also have a call to action in your bio, both on Instagram and TikTok, where I, for example, also use the follow for daily gym comedy. So even if you master all the aspects of creating content, both original content and trending content, the videos that you post might not do very well. It's very common that even though you put a lot of effort and time into a video, it might not do very well. It's hard to say beforehand what's going to perform well. For me, for an example, I would say 1 in every 15 videos I post do very well. So I have to post a lot of videos and be consistent. I know if I keep posting and being consistent, then one of these videos will perform very well and might even go viral. So you have to stick with it even though it might seem like it's not getting any attention and it's not performing that well. I promise you that if you keep posting and educating yourself, you will make it. Now I have covered the organic growth on Instagram. So let's talk about the manual growth on Instagram. This method that I'm going to teach you now is a very valuable method that I don't see being used very much at all. And this method I would recommend using on Instagram from the range of 0 to 5,000 followers. When you get to about the 5,000, you'll start to experience more organic growth, but you have to get the ball rolling yourself in the start. As I'm not quite yet at the 5,000 follower mark yet, I'm still using this method now to gain followers. And this method guarantees results. The more time you put into this method, the more followers you will get. So let me teach you about it so you can get loyal and engaging followers today. So this method I'm going to teach you is all about giving and being social. So the first step is to find someone who represents your niche and what you do. In my case, it could for example be Russ Wall. He's a power builder like me and posts a lot of the same content. So what you want to do is go to one of these persons' first post and click on liked. This will show you the people who liked this post. The reason why we do this is to find people who we know are engaged and active on Instagram. Then what you want to do is find someone who follows more than they have followers in here, like this guy. This indicates that he doesn't care that much about how many followers that he got and is more likely to follow you. Here's a great example. This guy is following more people than he has followers, and we know he's interested in the niche that I'm posting in. What you want to do is then go to one of his most recent posts and watch it. Then you will comment something meaningful and specific to this post. In this way you create value for him in that you are showing your support. This will entice him to follow you back and be an engaged and active follower. What you can do is make shortcuts in the keyboard settings. If you use a lot of the same phrases, this can make the process exponentially faster. So when you have found someone that you know is very interested in the niche you're posting in and is likely to follow you, you can click on the arrow underneath their bio. This will show people who's a lot like them, and these people will also be very likely to follow you. So now a couple of hours has passed, and if we take a look at my followers, this guy that we engaged with and gave value actually follow me back. Around 20 to 25% of people who you do this with will follow you back. It's a very time-consuming process, But if you want to get serious about growing on Instagram, this is definitely one of the best ways of doing it, with guaranteed results. Now that I have told you how to grow organically and manually on Instagram, let's talk about growth on TikTok. So TikTok has become extremely popular over the last few years, and there's a very good reason for that. As a creator, TikTok compared to Instagram is a lot easier to grow organically on. It's also much easier to make videos that go viral and gain you a lot of followers very quickly. So the method that I use to create content on Instagram is the same that I use for creating content on TikTok, and that I have already covered. So I want to talk a bit about what makes a video go viral. And one viral video can be really game-changing. So for example, the video that I made with Eddie Hall that's flipping a 25 kilogram plate got around 3 million views and gained me about 5,000 followers in a matter of 2-3 days. So one viral video can be really game-changing for you. So let me teach you a bit about how you can make viral content. So there's 3 aspects to creating viral content. The first is controversy, the second is irony, and the third is original humor. And I will now give you an example of each of these aspects with my own videos that did very well. So the reason why controversy is such a great element to make videos go viral is because it creates conflict. And what this really does is engage the audience. The controversy makes them share the content, it makes them comment on the content. So that is why controversial content has very high potential of going viral. An extremely good example of this at the moment is Andrew Tate. Everybody knows who it is because of his viral videos. And what makes those videos go viral? Controversy. He splits the waters. There's 2 groups. There's the ones that really agree with what Andrew Tate says and is very passionate about what he has to say. These people will like and share and comment positively on the post, which will make it do even better in the algorithm. And on the other hand, there's the people that totally disagree with him, and these people would also comment on the post, just negatively, but that doesn't really matter. Number 2, irony. Why irony is such a great element for creating viral content is a lot like controversy, because it splits the waters. There's a positive side and there's a negative side. So when using irony, one part of your audience will understand the irony and they will engage on a post because the humor is sort of complex and they understand this sort of complex humor and will therefore be more likely to engage on the post and share and comment and like. And then there's the other part, the sort of negative group of the audience which don't understand the irony. And a lot of these people will get triggered by what is being said because they don't understand the irony. And therefore they will leave negative comments and start debating with people in the comment section, which only makes the algorithm push it out more because they know people will engage on the post and view it. And the only goal that TikTok has as a social media platform is making people stay on the platform for as long as possible. Therefore they will push this kind of content out, just as they will push controversial content out with Andrew Tate. So a great example of one of the videos that I have made where I use irony is the video that I did with Larry Wheels, where I purposefully act like I don't understand that the plates he's using is 50 kg plates and therefore is double as heavy as one regular plate. And I make a video with me where I deadlift this amount of plates and say that I deadlift just as much as him. And the people that don't understand this irony will start commenting, "Oh, this is a 50 kg plate, you don't know anything about lifting," and blah 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 blah. And this is all intentional because then the people which know that I made this video with the use of irony starts commenting on these people's comments and saying, "Yes, of course he knows this and it's irony. How can you be this dumb that you don't understand, blah 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 blah." And then it goes on and on and on and on. And what it does for me is creating engagement. And this will only make it do better in the algorithm and then push it out to even more people. So the third aspect of creating viral content is original humor. And this is probably the one that we see the most. It's a video and a concept that we haven't seen before. And a great example of this is again the deadlifting celebrity series that I did. This is original content and original humor that people found really funny, and therefore it performed very well just because of that reason. So now in the end of this video, I just want to give you some very great tips that will make your chances of growing on Instagram and TikTok much better. So first off, the most important is create value. I have said this before, but I'm saying it again now because it's the number one most important thing. And value can be many things. It can be motivation, inspiration, entertainment, information, you name it. But the most important thing about the value that you provide is that it is of high value. Tip number 2, which I don't see a lot of people talk about actually, is be social. Social media is called social media for a reason. And one of the greatest ways of growing on TikTok and Instagram that has worked since the beginning is being social. This means engaging with your audience, following them, liking their post, commenting on their post specific to the post, and being interested in them and what they're posting. This will make them like you, and this will make them engage on your posts. That is how it works. So I would recommend you using 30 minutes to an hour every day, or when you have time for it, to engage with your audience. This will help you a lot. And the third tip is, when you have found some content that you have created that is doing very well, double down on that. When you find something that is performing well, it's very likely that it will perform well again if you create something similar. Again, an example of this is the deadlifting celebrity series that I did. Another great example is the Ginger vs Machine series that I'm also doing. And last but not least, the fourth tip is stick with it. Be consistent. I myself have wanted to quit many times, and it's very underestimated how tough this is. It is very tough to create content every day or every other day. You have to be constantly creative and constantly film new things and edit them. This takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. But if you're really serious with it, you need to stick with it and be consistent. I'm guaranteeing you it will reward you in the long run. So that is all for my Instagram and TikTok growth guide for 2022. I hope you enjoyed and found the information valuable. So all there's left to say is thank you for watching, and I wish you the best on your Instagram and TikTok journey. What?